And we're live.
And we're live.
And we're live.
And we're live.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Blackbird Breakfast Club. I'm Jordan.
I'm Joseph.
Thanks for joining us today.
We have a sore subject to talk about today.
Yeah.
Something that's near and dear to both of our hearts that has affected our lives deeply.
Yeah. Car troubles.
It's car troubles.
I feel like anyone can relate, honestly. But
I hope so.
Something about
Someone's
us.
got to market this podcast.
Yeah. So I'll start out this all by saying my family has a family curse of car troubles.
They do.
It runs in my family. Like,
as do I.
Yeah. And then we got married and it just carried over to that.
Turns out that it doesn't cancel each other out. It just doubles.
Yes, exactly. So I feel like we both just had a lot of car troubles in our life.
Yeah.
And
we briefly mentioned in last week's podcast
yes,
that our Mini Cooper transmission went out for the first time on the night of our wedding.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And that's just scratching the surface.
Yes.
Of what we've been through.
True. Why don't we start with...
Well, tell me about the family history that you have with car troubles.
I just feel like
I'll tell you the same.
My family, my cousins and aunts and uncles, it runs in the Clark family. Like, we just all have had a lot of car troubles. Like, I just remember when I had car issues with any car, my family was like, yeah, that's thing. It's also just that's just life. I just feel like I can't remember any super memorable, there's no crazy stories that I can remember specifically, but I know my family has just dealt with a lot of car issues.
Didn't you guys ditch a minivan?
Yeah, that was a long time. I guess, yeah, that was, but we yeah, true. Growing up, we had a minivan. I mean, we drove that thing around for forever and we just left it on the side of the road. It broke down and we had a whole adventure of trying to get home. We were in Florida, lived in South Carolina. It was a whole thing. Anyway, so it's happened throughout my life. And then, of course, in my adult years, I start to experience the same thing. Yeah, and I feel like, too, it's a lot of, random, weird car issues sometimes. So, anyway, now fast forward to, our married life. Right before we got married, you had a car and I had a car.
Yes.
So I was driving a Mini Cooper, and you were driving
a
Camry.
1998 Toyota Camry.
Yeah. So we'll start with your Camry because that's the beginning of the story.
Well, this goes back a while for me, where I have this thing where my cars blow up.
Oh my God.
Pretty unilaterally. My cars just blow up. So my first car was a 1979 Dodge Omni.
Okay.
That was brown.
I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on the unilaterally. What does that mean?
Across the board.
Across the board's way easier.
But it's more...
What did you say? What's the word?
Unilaterally.
That's just crazy.
Today's word is unilaterally.
I just never...
UNILATTERLAY. Unilaterally.
Oh my gosh. I hated and loved how funny that was. Okay. Sorry. You just teach me new words every day. I swear, being married to you is like
a spelling bee.
It is like a spelling bee.
I just love vocabulary.
Sometimes I let it go, but that one I was thinking on for a long time there.
Unilaterally.
No, it makes sense, but I've never in my life heard someone use that in a normal sense.
Sorry that my brain's too big for you.
Okay.
Sorry that I know too many words. I'll try to learn less of them.
I'm
learn
Joseph.
fewer.
I'm so smart.
You're a reader. You should know words.
Okay, whatever. All right, carry on. So your cars are blowing up across the board unilaterally.
Yeah, you got it.
UN.
UN.
All right, go. Continue.
So my first car was this 1979 Dodge Omni that was brown and browner. It had yellow shag carpet. It was beautiful.
Wow.
Just a majestic car, and I loved it.
I love that you call that beautiful.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
No, I know.
Are you kidding me?
I'm just giving you a hard time.
And I was driving it one day, which, like, old cars need old car maintenance, and I was not giving it that. So I totally understand. This was a, like...
It was a fair thing that it was.
Yeah, I
what was
understand
happening. Yeah.
that it was being finicky, but so I start driving it one day, and the engine is ticking. Like, there's a ticking sound in the engine. And I basically, like, when that started happening, I was at, like, the top of a mountain, and I just coasted my way down. Like, I did not put the gas on while it happened. And
Oh, my goodness.
coasted down to my house. The next day, I'm driving it to the shop to get it looked at, and it explodes. Like, huge boom, smoke.
At the car shop?
On my way to the car shop.
Oh, my goodness.
Smoke. It explodes.
Okay.
There's a huge bang, and then it won't work anymore. So the harmonic balancer broke,
My God.
which is a
Know
little
what that is.
weight that keeps your, like, cylinders going in time. So that broke, and when it broke, it severed, like, the oil line. So it leaked all of the oil out as well. So
That's terrifying.
ditched that car.
All right.
Then I got my cousin's 1998 Toyota Corolla,
Okay.
which it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
That is a car.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way around it.
Definition
You can't
car.
make it cool.
Yeah.
It is a
Yeah.
Corolla.
Fair.
Or sorry, it was a Camry.
Yeah.
Still
This
not
is
cool.
The car that I met you when
Yeah.
you had? Yeah.
Yeah.
Camry,
Little silver
Yeah.
4-door, tannish, whatever it was.
I was going to say, it was tan, not
It was-
silver.
A bunch of different colors.
Okay.
But so we started to experience troubles with the Mini Cooper around the time that we were about a month away from being married. We were already engaged. So
You're-
we had started to experience some troubles with the Mini Cooper.
Right.
We didn't quite know what it was at the time,
Mhm.
but we were going to be driving from Nashville to Pennsylvania to
Yes.
visit my family for Thanksgiving.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So we decided to take my car because it was the reliable one.
Huh.
And even at and made it to Pennsylvania great.
Yeah, made it fine.
Even at Thanksgiving dinner, I remember talking about, like, wow, this car has really done well. Like, it's super reliable.
Spoke too soon.
Spoke too soon. On our way back from Columbus,
On our way back from Pennsylvania.
On our way back from
in
Pennsylvania.
Columbus.
we stopped in Columbus to get gas, pulled up to a red light, and
Smoke
smoke.
coming out of the front of the car.
Completely unwarranted. There was I was up to date on oil changes, everything. So
Not good.
not good. It just starts pluming smoke and overheating. So we're now stuck in Columbus,
Yeah.
driving
It was
maybe a mile at a time before having to turn the car off and let it cool down so that we could drive
It was
another
also
mile.
starting to get dark at this point, too.
Yep, and it was a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
I had to be at work the next day.
Yep.
We were in trouble.
Yeah.
Basically figured out that the water pump blew up.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just cars blowing up on Joseph.
Yep.
So we ended up getting it to a
Like
O'Reilly's
an auto
or something,
zone or something.
and just left it there.
We basically we figured out a place to tow it and whatever, but we had to get home, so we basically just got an Uber.
Yeah.
Oh, we had also had a wedding shower while
Yep.
we were in Pennsylvania, so we had
So
a
my
ton
car
of
was
gifts.
full.
We had a ton of stuff in his car, so we had to transfer all that over to an Uber and then drive over to
Luckily,
the
she
airport.
was incredible. Our Uber driver
She
was
was
amazing.
very, very sweet and patient. Because the airport was not nearby.
No, and we were in a really sketchy part of Columbus. I remember there was a police helicopter
Oh my
and
God.
police like there was a manhunt happening in the part of Columbus that we were in.
Yeah, it was very
on
scary. Oh my God.
Black
and it was
Friday.
dark. And it was
Yeah.
dark.
So we just had to get home. So we ended up Ubering to
Yeah.
the airport, renting a car, driving the rest of the way. I never saw that car again.
Yeah.
I had to call the sketchiest tow company that I could find in
Yeah.
Columbus because first of all, it's a felony to
To leave
abandon
a
car. So I wasn't trying to get a felony. So we left it with this place. I ended up having to find a really sketchy tow company because
come and get it.
everybody who I called wanted me to be there with the title in hand. And I wasn't going to drive back up to Ohio
Yeah.
just to see my car get towed. So I found one and I was like, look, you can have it. I
Yeah.
don't want any money for it. I don't care. Just get it off of this O'Reilly's, and it's yours.
Yeah.
Had to explain, like, with, like, the license plate and, like, a description of, like, there was a hole in the bumper.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this car has these features. Go get it. And they did.
They did.
So it's probably in a pile somewhere now.
Yeah. And then we mentioned this last week, but then we're down to the Mini Cooper, which we weren't living together. We weren't married yet. So we had like a month until we were going to get married and be living together. But we had to share a car. So it was very complicated with, what was that?
And I hit a pothole that month.
Yes. Joseph hit a pothole in it and busted up the whole.
Bent the frame.
Yeah,
Thanks, Nashville.
Yeah, literally.
Get your potholes figured out.
Still hasn't. In 4 years, still is just as bad. Anyway, so we had to get like, so yeah.
There was one point where we were renting a shared car.
Yes.
Leading up to our wedding.
That's right, because we got like insurance
living
to
in
cover,
separate houses.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. We got insurance to cover a lot of the pothole thing, and they gave us like a rental car for like a week or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That it was getting fixed. So then we get our car back, and then not even a month later, well, in the same month, Joseph is driving it from the rehearsal venue,
which was
to
like an
home.
hour and a half south of where we each lived.
Yeah, so you're driving it back to the house that we were going to be living in.
Wouldn't shift gears.
I was staying with friends in Franklin or something, and it wouldn't shift gears.
Nope.
Had to leave it somewhere because, or did you get it home? I can't remember.
It home.
That's right.
It just would not shift out of first gear. So I was driving like 20 miles an hour.
That's so scary.
Going up the highway, just hazard lights on.
My God.
Just praying.
Yeah.
Just engine is revving.
I remember
it's at like
that call.
6. I'm going like 20.
The night before we were going to get married. This was literally the day before we get married. Anyway, so then thankfully my dad let us like borrow his car for the week.
Yeah. That we drove off in your dad's car from our wedding.
We had to come get it the next day.
Yep. He did.
Yeah.
He had to come to our house the day after our wedding, and I had to look that man in the eyes.
I think my parents took us to the airport that day.
They did.
Yeah. Awkward. Not really, but funny.
The day after our wedding
Thinking
night.
about it, it's hilarious. But we had no option. We didn't have a car. Could Uber.
We left our car while
but
we
they needed
went
to get their car
Ireland.
back. So anyway, it was a whole thing.
Just ditched it at our car guy.
Yeah. So that happened.
So that was the first time the transmission went out.
Yep, the
in
first
the Mini
time.
Cooper.
Keep that in mind.
At that point, we were already talking about sharing a car once we got married and selling mine.
Yeah, we've always
We didn't sell it.
We didn't sell it. We didn't have a choice of when we were going to do that but we've always been, I mean, we've literally at this point always been a one-car family in our entire marriage. But we always kind of wanted that just because we were like, I don't think we really need a second car. It'd be nice, but whatever. Anyway, so I don't remember the timeline specifically.
Yep.
But I think the next time that we had that car, the Mini Cooper was very problematic. Cute, great car, fun.
They're such fun cars, but my God.
And they're just money pits.
The amount of like weird little issues that they have, like the way that the exhaust is routed from the engine out the back of the car melts the taillights.
Oh yeah, the taillight melted.
And
one
there's
time.
like, yeah, that's just a Mini Cooper problem.
No,
like
it's
just
gonna be
minicooperthings.tumblr.com.
Yeah.
Like, oops, melted taillight. I'm so quirky. Hate it.
Yeah, the worst.
But they're very fun car. It's like driving a little go-kart.
Yeah, super fun. Loved that car, but also
Wouldn't buy another one though.
No. It was so fun for the time, but even during that time was so many issues. So the next time we were on a road trip, was it when we were on a road trip and we busted so we were on the road trip and
this was the most helpless that I have felt. This was also like right at the beginning of COVID. So like everyone was still a little wary of like
what
was going on. It was like just starting to break. We were going to go visit your family before it got bad. And then
we drove to South Carolina from Tennessee.
Through
Asheville. Something flew off of the back of a truck.
Yeah.
Like it was like a block of wood or something.
There was a flatbed that was driving in front of us. And, it was like a wooden block that they would use to chalk the tires on a piece of heavy equipment that they were carrying on it.
Yeah.
So like a little like bulldozer or something.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. It was a piece of wood.
It was not secured and came flying off, and You know,
we were in traffic.
We were in traffic.
I mean,
I
like,
literally could not
couldn't
go
swerve,
anywhere
couldn't
else.
stop. Like,
And that thing rattled underneath our car for a good couple minutes. And then the check engine light came on.
not a couple minutes.
No, it felt like a couple minutes.
It just
was
felt
a few
that
seconds.
we hit it. I knew in that moment something.
Yeah.
We have something is messed up. It wasn't your fault. Like, it literally
There
wasn't
was
your fault. There was
literally
nothing
nothing I
you could have done. So anyway, long story short, call AAA, get a tow truck. But we're not even in, like, we're not near our family. And I mean, we still had to get home. Like, it was a nightmare. So we had to leave it at a shop in Asheville
to get fixed.
Get a rental car to
Because,
get home.
of course, it almost exclusively destroyed the transmission.
Oh, yeah, of course. So we're on the
our
second
new
transmission now.
Yeah.
So we get it to a shop. We go visit my family. We drive back home in the rental. And then Joseph has to drive back to Asheville a few weeks later to pick it up and return the rental car and come back.
And then here's the really funny part about all this.
What?
Like I said, this was at the beginning of COVID.
Yes.
So things logistically, like any organization that had some logistics to it was just effed.
Yeah.
At the beginning of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody from our insurance to the repair shop just dropped the ball on the paperwork around our car.
Yeah.
So we get our car back because the insurance company totaled it because they didn't want to pay for another transmission, understandably.
Yeah.
So they totaled it. It gets rebuilt.
Yep.
And they're supposed to file the paperwork for us to get a salvage title and a rebuilt title for the car.
Yeah.
This is all boring, like semantics. It should be boring. This should have.
Wait, why do I feel like this wasn't the totaled thing?
It was.
It was?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it was 2 years ago, Jordan.
That's insane.
And we're
No,
still
you're right.
working on this.
You're right, yeah.
So we are driving the car. COVID happens. We get it back. We assume that everything has gone the way that they need it to.
We didn't know how that process worked. We just assumed everything was tied up with insurance and everything.
So we go to re-register the car.
And they're like,
this car doesn't exist anymore. It's totaled.
Yeah, you need to get a rebuilt title.
Right.
Well, then it took literally years to get this figured out.
We're
and finally
on our third year of dealing with this, and we have just now gotten backtracked up to the point where it's now totaled.
Yeah.
Like,
we got the title. We got the
totaled title.
Yeah. And now we have to rebuild it in order to sell.
Now we need to go through everybody who fixed our car to get the title rebuilt. Almost 3 years after the car was totaled.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, I guess that is the third transmission because it would have started with one. We replaced it a second time. That was the third time.
She's on her third one.
Yeah, she's been through a lot. Anyway, we drove her for a while up until, a few months ago?
Yeah, which, like, we knew we needed a bigger car anyway just because our hobbies and
our work
entails hauling a lot of, like, furniture and equipment around. Mm-hmm. And it was never fun in the Mini Cooper to try and make things fit.
We figured it out, though. I will say we got a lot of stuff in that minivan.
Did.
Or Mini Cooper. So now, I said minivan because now we have a minivan.
Spoiler alert. We bought a minivan.
Spoiler alert. We bought a minivan, a used minivan. It's an old car, but it is fine. Like,
back to the old reliable.
It's just reliable.
Honda Odyssey.
Yeah, it's a Honda, which is
the DVD player.
Yeah, and it's great because, like, if we have to get it fixed, it's usually pretty, like, standard repairs. Like, it's not anything crazy. We don't have to get specialty
We're
things.
so traumatized
Yeah.
from the Mini Cooper.
Yeah, because anytime anything would happen, it would just be very expensive to fix, or it'd be very, like,
thousands of dollars to just fix these really minute problems.
And that's why we just decided, we got to the point with the Mini Cooper where there was another.
I'm not paying any more money.
Yeah,
for this thing.
there was a few more issues, and it was going to be like.
Every time we would take it in for an oil change, and I trust the guy who was working on our car for us. I know he was not cheating us. Every time we would take it in for an oil change, we would end up walking away with a bill for like $2,000.
Yeah. At
to
least
fix
$1,000.
something.
It was insane. It was insane. But the last time we went, it was like almost $3,000 of repairs, and we were like, "That car is not worth it." And we just we need a more reliable car. We can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
So anyway, we now have a minivan, which we love.
Yeah.
But
we bought that thing on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, we did. And I mean, it's been great. Like, it's
Yeah.
been exactly what we paid for, what we thought.
She's a beast.
We got a great deal, you know? Like,
Yeah. It was sketchy buying it,
but that's Facebook Marketplace, you
that's
know?
right. I'd recommend it.
So
I'd do it again.
Yeah. So the funny story with the recent funny, weird car story with the minivan is we have
Forgot about this.
Yeah, we've always had just a key to get into the car. Like, you actually have to unlock it on the driver's side with the key, and there's no fob. There was never a fob that came with it or whatever. So again, old car, like whatever.
Yeah.
Well, one day I get a call from Joseph, who is at the gym, which isn't too far away from
Half a
where we
mile
live.
away.
He calls me and he's like, "Hey, I'm walking home because the car,
The key stopped working.
working in the keyhole in the door." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And it had been kind of finicky. Like, it had been getting tough to get it in there. Like, we should have known something was the issue, and we kept saying like, we need to probably get a fob for this or whatever.
I didn't know that you could just get a fob.
I didn't know that either.
I thought that it had to come from the manufacturer. I thought that it had to come from all this.
Yeah.
Why
Why would
the
we know
story
that?
here is like, get a fob. If
Get a
you
fob.
want a key fob, you can get one.
Which most people probably have. We just have
Yeah.
a very old car. Anyway, so basically we end up, neither of our keys work in it. It's clearly the keyhole is jammed, and that's the only keyhole on the whole car. It's the only way to get in the car. So we're locked out of our car. The car's at the gym. So I call AAA again. Shout out AAA.
Shout out
Love
AAA. We got our money's worth.
Saving our lives so many times. So anyway, AAA comes and unlocks the door, but it then trips the anti-theft mode in the car, and so the car alarm starts going off very loudly and very long, like it won't stop. So the person who helped us was like, "The alarm will eventually go off. You should be fine." We took the Mini Cooper to the minivan. So I get out, I get in the minivan. Joseph is driving in the Mini Cooper home, and I'm following him home.
And she's on her last leg. She's got no gas.
Oh,
The check
yeah.
engine light's on. It's
Yeah.
leaking oil.
The Cooper
it's
is like
full of mold.
struggling.
It's
yeah,
bad.
there's a lot of things going on, but it's like we're dealing with that. That's another thing. But so I'm driving the minivan to our house, and the car alarm is just going off and off. So it finally stops. Oh, and the thing too was weird. Like, the inside locks wouldn't unlock on the buttons.
Yeah,
like
the anti-theft works. It
It does.
is actively trying to ruin your day.
it's keeping you out.
If
like
you
for
stole
sure.
this car,
Yeah.
you would have a hard time getting away with it.
I will say I've never known embarrassment like driving a car with the car alarm going off. It's my own car. Like, that was the thing. It was so funny. I was just laughing. I didn't even care. I was just like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, but like through our own neighborhood,
Yeah, it was so funny.
driving it, pulling
was
it up
embarrassing.
into our house,
And then it
alarm
kept
still going off.
So
Just keeps
anyway,
going.
literally I ended up like pulling the little lock like on the window, and that triggered it again. So like this car, like, it was just nonstop. So long story short, we realized we need to completely replace the keyhole or get a key fob or both, whatever. And of course, Joseph is like leaving town the next day, and so I'm having to deal with this by myself, which is fine. But
Always.
like stuff like this always happens, and this stuff stresses me out like so much. So I'm trying like
It's
to
funny
keep
because
cool
you
about
get
it.
really stressed out about car stuff.
I do.
It keeps happening.
It does. I know, but it will always stress me out. That's life. Anyway, so the next day was just terrible and funny, and looking back on it, it was funny. It was terrible in the moment. So Joseph ended up calling like a locksmith to come to our house to replace the keyhole the next morning. It was like first thing in the morning. So I was like, great. So I'm getting ready for the day. I'm like, the guy is here and he's working on the car, and he comes up to the door again. He's like, hey, the car alarm is going off. And I'm like, something's not right. Like, it's not, this is not going well. He's like, I'm gonna need you to follow me to the shop, which the shop was around the corner. It wasn't very far, but he was like, I need to like be at my shop with certain tools and stuff to get this to work. And I was like, okay, fine. Because the reason he came to us is because we were locked out of our car at that point.
I tried to like pull fuses
Yeah.
to get like the anti-theft to reset.
And like Googling stuff.
Yeah.
It's
and
like
I
it
made
was
the
almost
mistake
impossible.
of shutting both of the doors, and I watched it lock itself.
Yeah.
So now I'm locked out. We can't get in.
Yeah.
And the guy is saying that the only way to turn off the anti-theft is with the key in the door or with a fob, which we don't have.
Which neither we have. So anyway, I driving in our neighborhood with the car alarm going off in my car to the shop. The guy tries to work on it for like 20 minutes or whatever, and I'm like waiting in the shop. He comes in, and I could tell by his face. I'm like, this would be a bad day for me.
You were so mad.
I was
you were so angry.
because
I was texting you from the airplane.
I was
Shout
having-
out Southwest, free texting in the air.
Yeah.
Because I'm like checking in. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, and
How is it?
Well, I also like hadn't eaten breakfast yet. I hadn't like gotten ready for the day. I also had work I needed to do. Like there was a lot of stuff that was just stressing me out because like, and I was hungry and I hadn't had coffee. Like there were just a lot of like very first world problems that were like really getting to me, and I was getting so stressed. So anyway, the guy comes in and he's like, I can't do this. Like, I'm sorry. Go down to this shop. He gives me like the address of it. He doesn't even say the name of it.
He sent you like the coordinates.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
As the crow flies.
It literally,
north.
he's like down the street. It was on the same street as this shop. So anyway, again, get in my car. The car alarm's going off. I'm stopping at stoplights and people are looking at me. It is so bad. Finally get to the shop. They end up fixing it, but it took, I sat there for 3 or 4 hours.
It was a lot.
And I wasn't prepared to really like sit there. So I think I had my Kindle, which was great. I could read, but like other than that, I was just miserable. Shout out Kindle. Anyway, long story short, they gave us a key fob. Now we have a key fob, but like think of in like old movies when people unlock their car and it's like beep beep or like ding ding. It sounds.
Sorry, what sound?
I don't know how to make the sound. It sounds like that. It's just really funny to me, and I don't know, quirky cars. Anyway, but now we have a working minivan. Very grateful for that. So
And she is so reliable.
So reliable, so much room. We've gone to a lot of antique stores, Facebook Marketplace things, and we have put a lot of furniture in her.
So much stuff.
That's great. We love it. Definitely love our minivan. But yeah, those are some of our car horror stories. Hope you can laugh along with us now because that's just life. Here's what I've realized. I think why car stuff does stress me out so much is where we live, we need a car to get around places.
So annoying.
It's very annoying. I do. My dream is to live somewhere where I'd never have to have a car again. I could walk or take public transportation. That is my dream. I don't think that will really happen, especially here.
Not in Nashville.
Not in Nashville. But I'm telling you, like, that would significantly improve my life. But anyway, but yeah, it's frustrating and stressful because it's like you need a car to survive here pretty much. Yeah. Like, it would be very hard to do a lot of things without a car. And we've had to experience not having a car here and there, and that's okay.
You know,
you just
grin and bear it sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, those are our car stories.
That's us. That's our car stories.
Joseph, any shout outs for this week?
You know what?
What?
Shouts out to our day ones who've been with us from the beginning. Shout out Jared and Ellie.
Oh yeah, Jared and Ellie are the best. They've been listening.
They've been
week.
listening. I know they're listening right now.
I know they are.
And I hope this puts a smile on their face. Shout out Jared and Ellie.
Love you guys.
Kisses on the forehead.
Kisses on the forehead. Thank you so much, seriously, for listening. We love you guys. Hope you all have a great week. And hope you don't have car troubles.
Hope your cars are as good as the day you bought them.
That's right. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.